Emotions can run high at the scenes of deadly crashes, but sometimes the people accused of causing those wrecks can seem callous, selfish, and even insensitive to the fact that they have irreparably changed the lives of so many people. Body cam video during these investigations can give us a peek into a suspect's state of mind, and we are going to examine 5 incidents that left innocent bystanders dead and their alleged killers behind bars. Welcome to a special crossover Morgan & Morgan and Law&Crime edition of Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Millions of car crashes happen in the United States every year. And according to the Department of Transportation's latest numbers from 2022, more than 40,000 of those crashes end in death. We're going to talk about it right now, and I have a special guest with me to talk about this on this special edition of Sidebar with Morgan & Morgan. None other than Dan Morgan, managing partner for the powerhouse law firm of Morgan & Morgan. Dan, good to see you once again. Thanks for taking the time. You know, I imagine that a large portion of the work that you do, your firm does, involves these kinds of cases, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, we're dealing with wrongful death cases every single day. We're getting phone calls dealing with some type of wrongful death case. You know, it's unfortunately a big part of our inventory deals with these types of cases. So yeah, it is something that we have to deal with on a regular basis at Morgan & Morgan. And
it's important, right? Because you're the voice of the person who was killed. You're the voice of the family representing the person who was killed.
Oh, absolutely. We're the kind of that last kind of voice that they'll be able to hear, to have some type of justice resulting from obviously the tragic death of their loved ones, whether it be a car accident or a shooting or a premise liability type of case. You know, we're kind of that last to make sure that it didn't happen in vain, that there's at least some justice that gets taken care of from the terrible incidents.
Do you get attached to the families? I mean, what do you talk to them? This is one of the worst moments in their life. What's that relationship like?
Yeah, it's pretty, you know, one of my first cases actually was dealing with a wrongful death case involving a garbage truck, a really sad case, you know, and through that time, you know, 2 days after, I was in the living room with the family, with the mom, with the son. The son's actually a professional basketball player. But now me and the mom, we talked, you know, that accident, that we went all the way to a trial, you know, it's over 5 years ago, but me and Drew still talk weekly. I talk to Ula around the holidays. So, you know, it really does become like a family type situation.
That's great. That's great. All right. I want to dive into some of these body cam videos that kind of, again, give us this behind the scenes look at shocking crash investigations. So let's start this off. Just before Christmas in 2022. 911 calls started pouring in to dispatchers in Las Cruces, New Mexico. There had been a high-speed crash, and the driver who'd crashed his Dodge Caravan head-on into a Ford Escape was apparently trying to run away from the scene. So people who had stopped apparently started to chase him down, holding him there until the first officer got there.
Where's the guy? Oh, he's over there? Okay. Yes.
He's the one that tried running away.
I'm not trying to run away, dude. I didn't want to smoke a cigarette.
Where are you going?
I'm trying to go home, dude.
Get up.
I just want to smoke a cigarette.
No, turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
I just want to smoke a cigarette.
Put your hands behind your back.
I just want to smoke a cigarette. I just want to smoke a cigarette.
Get your hand out of... don't reach in. Don't reach in.
Can I smoke a cigarette?
Stop. Hey, stop.
You.
Turn around. Turn around.
I'm trying to, but
put your on your back. You're just rolling around.
I'm trying to smoke a cigarette. I'm trying to smoke
get
a
down,
cigarette.
dude.
I'm just trying to smoke a cigarette.
Can you expedite 55, please? For an intervention. Stand up. Stand up.
Well, stand me up. I'm trying to smoke a cigarette.
Keep walking. Keep walking.
I'm trying to walk.
No, you're not.
Will you walk me?
Get up. Stand up. What's wrong with you, dude?
I'm trying to walk. You know we were trying to tell me to walk. We want to walk.
Shut up.
You shut up.
Keep walking.
I mean, Dan, I don't even know where do you want to start with this. The fact that there are multiple witnesses who apparently allegedly saw what he did, but the body cam footage in these kinds of cases must be the most important piece of evidence you have in in these wrongful death cases, right?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with actually what happened through the eyeballs of this scene. I mean, clearly the guy is 3 sheets into the wind, you know, hammered drunk in that video. So it's not really, he's not complying. He's rolling around. He's, you know, I also saw his December 22nd, close to the holidays, which makes it almost that much worse, you know, for the families involved too. That's one of the first things I noticed as well. But no, I mean, the body cam footage, you know, in a lot of our cases now, you know, especially with the way the technology is going, we get the dash cam footage or the video, and that is the case a lot of times. You know, there's no denying it once it's on video and you can see what happens.
And now here's the tragedy of this, because inside that crushed SUV were 3 women and a 2-year-old. So the driver and front passenger both died. The woman in the back seat with her 2-year-old daughter was seriously injured, taken to a hospital. Now, thankfully, the baby, fortunately, was fastened in a car seat, wasn't badly hurt. But a woman who witnessed this crash told police that the person operating the van was driving like a madman.
He was coming so fast on the curb. So when I noticed him, and then I heard the bang, I pulled over and I got out, and that's when I saw this crash.
Okay.
The commotion of everything, and then they're trying to get people out, and then he took off. And everybody's yelling at him to like come back.
Yeah.
And that's when people went after him, pinned him down, and somebody finally got a hold of 911.
Yeah.
Hey there, everybody. So I want to thank Morgan & Morgan for sponsoring this episode of Sidebar. Always love talking about them. Now, here is the incredible thing about Morgan & Morgan, and one of the reasons why I like talking about them so much.
Hey, say something about our big wins.
You're not supposed to come on camera. The reason Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm, is so big, and I'm sure you can guess it, is because they win a lot. And that's
Don't forget huge verdicts.
Yeah, they've won big verdicts, $6.8 million in New York, $26 million in Philadelphia. You see, the thing about them is they don't settle for lowball insurance offers from insurance companies, which is something.
Mention that you can submit a claim from your couch at home and on your phone.
Dan, they've completely modernized the process by submitting your claim, talking to your legal team. It's all done straight from your smartphone. Again, that's something
With
that
8 clicks or less.
8 clicks or less. Yes. You can see if you have a case in just a few minutes.
Hey, 1,000 lawyers. We have over 1,000 lawyers.
All right.
now.
You know what, Dan? If you really think you can do better, maybe you should just do it yourself.
What Jesse was getting at is if you've ever been injured in an accident, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. You can submit a claim in 8 clicks or less. To start your claim, just visit forthepeople.com/LC sidebar.
You came a little too close to me. It hurt me a little bit. I'm probably actually going to have to hire you guys now, but that was well said. That was well said.
And the driver of the van was identified as Nicholas Esteban Garola. So officers, they do their best to run Garola through field sobriety tests, but he's apparently too inebriated to even follow the instructions.
Nick, really quick, man. So let me explain something to you. So a lot of these people are
Yeah.
that you were the driver of the other vehicle involved in the crash.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's what they were telling me. So I can smell some alcohol coming from you, and your words are very slurred right now.
Yeah.
So what I want to have you do is submit to standardized field sobriety tests.
I'm already gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna fail.
Are you willing to submit to those tests?
I'm willing to, yeah, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll fail.
I just need a verbal yes or no. Are you willing to submit to those sobriety tests?
Yes, but I'm gonna fail.
Okay, then let's walk over here, okay? The way this first test is going to work is you're going to follow the tip of my finger with your eyes only, and do not move your head. you understand?
Yeah.
So follow the tip of my fingers with your eyes only and do not move your head. Make sure you're tracking my finger, okay?
I am.
All right. Keep your eyes on my finger. Make sure you keep your eyes on my finger. Keep your eyes on my finger.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Stand up straight, man. Stand up straight. What's going on?
It's hurting my neck.
Your neck?
It's hurting my eyes. It's hurting my neck.
Your eyes and your neck hurt?
Yeah.
Are you able to move on with the test or no?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna keep going, but you gotta stand up straight. You gotta keep your position, okay?
I'm trying.
Okay. Go and remain in the position that you're in. Arms at your sides. Make sure your feet are touching heel to toe, like this, like how my feet are.
I gotta make sure that my pants are.
Okay.
I'm tight. I'm good.
All right, I got you, man. Can you get back in the position I told you, please? So left foot on the line.
Position I was in for 90 seconds. Yeah. You ready?
You have a problem? I'm trying to give you the instructions so you can understand it. I ain't giving you attitude. I ain't giving you attitude.
I never said you did.
Okay.
Then why are you going sideways on him when he's just extracting to you what you need to do?
I'm giving him.
You don't need to do anything but listen. That's all you need.
I'm trying to give you the instructions of the demonstrations that way you can understand.
So listen.
And I'm expressing my
Okay.
exercise.
Okay,
to you.
I got you. Do you want to continue?
If you don't mind.
So as you kind of saw at the end there, Garola even gets a little bit mouthy with the officers, especially the one observing off to the side.
Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
Okay, then I'm going to give you a quick demonstration, okay?
No, let me give you a quick demonstration.
All right, this is what the quick demonstration looks like. 1001,
You guys.
1002, 1003.
For you guys.
You're under arrest for DWI.
Dan?
I mean, I think he knew he was going to fail before he even started, so I don't know why all of a sudden, it must just be the alcohol or whatever else he's on that kind of triggered that anger, because, we saw a whole range of it from him admitting to he's going to fail a test, to then sobbing during the first test, and then turn to rage during the last test. But yeah, I mean, definitely not good optics. I think they have the wheel witness. That's really what it comes down to in the criminal aspect of the case is there someone that can pin him behind the wheel of the car at the time? Obviously the DUI, and unfortunately I was thinking too, a lot of these wrongful death cases we do see, a lot of them unfortunately do deal with drugs, alcohol, it just escalates everything, both at-fault people that, the wrong place, wrong time. But when alcohol is involved in these crashes, it makes everything worse. But even if alcohol wasn't involved, then it would still be, a vehicular manslaughter, reckless driving. If he's behind the wheel and people are dead because, as the lady said, he's driving like a madman doing crazy turns, I mean, unfortunately, he's got what's coming to him.
Have you ever seen a case where someone is drunk, behind the wheel, they allegedly cause a crash, they're sued, and they're able to mount a successful defense? It almost feels like if you are caught being drunk behind the wheel of a car, you are automatically liable. Have you ever seen the opposite? It's almost like we call in the law strict liability, right?
Exactly, yeah. As far as if they're drunk behind the wheel, it's game over. Now,
Yeah.
have I seen cases where we're pretty sure someone was drunk and they've run from the scene, and then there wasn't that person? It was actually a wrongful death case. It was a case that we had. We believe the person that was the owner of the car was driving the car. They were, we believe, drinking heavily. There was bottles of liquor in the car. But when they came to the scene, the person was gone. There was no one that could put him behind the wheel of the car, and the only witness was dead. So unfortunately, a case like that, it's one of the most tragic ones. But it's over. That's why it's crucial that those people did what they did. They saw who he was. They pointed him out, and they chased him down. Because that guy, got 3 more blocks, and they never saw him again. He could just say, "I wasn't out last night. So and so had my car. My car got stolen," and then it's over.
Then he could get behind the wheel of another
Exactly.
car. And let's talk about this. So investigators, they try to figure out exactly how Garola managed to end up in the wrong lane. So officers, they take him to the police station. They let him sober up for a while, and this is before detectives talk to him about a few hours later. So they get his side of the story first, saying he was out looking for work, was supposed to pick up his son from a pizza party.
All right, Mr. Cook, can you tell us what happened tonight?
I was on my way to go get my son, and I don't know. We were going around that S right there, and this car just hit me, boom. That's all I remember.
Okay. Where were you prior to picking up your son? You said you were on your way to go pick up your son?
Yeah.
Where were you coming from?
Circle K down, Battaglia, down Battaglia, yeah. That's a Circle K right there next to the Quick Eagle Mark, but further down.
Like, closer to motel?
Yeah, that's Circle K, yeah.
So you had left there. What were you doing there?
Nothing. I was just meeting this dude, trying to get another job, construction. Left there. Son called me, told me that he's ready, so I said, okay, here I go.
Do you remember, did you have anything to drink prior?
I did, yeah.
Do you remember what you had to drink?
I had a fireball, that's it.
Fireball?
Like not just a little.
Like a shooter?
Yeah.
Just one?
Yeah.
Anything else, any drugs?
Oh.
Do you remember how fast you were going down?
25, 30.
25, 30?
25, 30, that's speed limit is 25, if you would, but I mean, everybody usually goes 30.
Okay, this part's important because the detectives then tell Garola that his actions killed 2 people, and he barely reacts.
Look, your best bet is to be completely honest with us, right? So you already did a breath test. You remember what those results were? 0.15, 0.16?
Oh, I asked them to give me a breath test. They said no. They took me to the...
Right. We did give you a breath test at this other station. You had more than a shooter, right? You gave a blood sample, so we're going to find out if you had any other drugs in your system.
That's fine.
So what I'm getting at is that honesty is going to be your best friend. You asked us if anyone died. Yeah, 2 people died in that other vehicle. There's a third that's in critical condition. So if you want to help yourself out, your best bet is to be truthful and stop dancing around this, I only had one shooter. Because you and I both know that that's not the case. You know you weren't going 25 miles an hour, because that's not even the speed limit
Going
to begin
up,
with.
it's 30 miles per hour, 25, yes. Going up, yes it is.
Well, that crash isn't a 25 mile per hour crash, and you weren't in your lane.
It wasn't the cops that chased you down and put you on the ground. It was other people who witnessed it. They witnessed the car crash. They witnessed you running away.
Maybe it's not fair to say that he didn't, react. He reacted in some way, but here's what happened in the end. In July of 2024, a year and a half after the crash, Garola entered a guilty plea to 2 counts of homicide by vehicle, 1 count of great bodily harm, leaving the scene of an accident, and other charges, and he was officially sentenced to 15 years in prison. Final thoughts on this one, Dan?
Not enough time, if we're being honest, but that's, I guess, how the way the laws are working, especially when you're, it's DUI manslaughter. He took a plea deal, obviously, to kind of expedite the whole process, but, definitely not enough time. You think about, obviously people have different economic means, but with the technology today with Ubers and taxis and all that's available to people, there's really no excuses anymore to be getting behind the wheel. Not saying there was before, but there's just so many actions available. He's going to pick up his son. His son's life's now ruined, for the next 15 years. Obviously, the people in the car terribly ruined, the woman in the back with her child, and everything's going to, from that one decision, and he obviously wasn't a shooter, maybe a bottle of Fireball from the way in the blood test, but yeah, it's just a really tragic situation.
Real quick, what is the liability of store shop owners who sell alcohol or bars that sell alcohol if there's deadly crashes afterwards?
Yeah, a lot of times, those are the kind of the cases that we are pursuing are the, they're called dram shop type acts, where if a bar knows, hey, this person's had too much to drink, but he orders another round of shots and they pour, and then he orders beers and they keep pouring and they keep pouring, and they see him walk out the door and they do nothing, and then say that was that guy that went in to do that. Most likely, I don't want to get into his situation. I'm assuming he doesn't have enough insurance to cover the damages and all that he did and caused behind. So who are you going to go after? Well, who enabled him to get that way? The bar that served him, the liquor store that saw he was drunk and kept serving him. You can then go after those companies, and that's when you kind of get the higher damages, the punitive damages, especially when they have repeated histories of people doing that or getting in accidents, leaving their establishments.
All right, so now let's move on to Chandler, Arizona, where this semi-truck driver who was watching TikTok videos, caused a 6-car crash and killed 5 people. Yeah. So the first officers on scene on Interstate 10 in January of 2023 found a semi-truck that had gone up in flames. It's early in the morning, and state troopers, they are already investigating a separate crash further up the road, and that caused cars to back up and come to a stop. And that is when Danny Glenn Tyner drove his semi right into stopped traffic. GPS data later revealed that Tyner was driving 68 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour construction zone when he slammed into the cars in front of him. And at the scene, one of the men involved in this new car crash tries to tell the trooper what happened when they both realize there's an SUV wedged between the 2 trucks, engulfed in flames.
I was stopped, and the other guy, I just hit me, and I was like, what the And I put my flashes. I said, they don't see me. This truck might be coming so fast. Stop. This truck might be coming so fast. I don't know, is a car in there? Oh, my God. Is a car in there? Yeah. Oh, my God, no, bro. 1811. Please, oh, no.
Just for info, there is a SUV that I did not see before. Completely destroyed. Unknown 63s inside.
4 men inside of that mangled wreckage of that SUV died. The 5th person who was in another car died as well. So a trooper finds Tyner, who appears uninjured, watching the scene.
It said everything.
Were you involved at all?
I'm the truck driver.
Oh, this back truck?
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
All I did was look down real quick, looked up, and they were all right there, and I slammed on my brakes, and it just...
Okay.
So EMTs, they check over Tyner to make sure he's not hurt. He says he's sore but doesn't want to go to the hospital. And investigators ask him what happened. Tyner insists he would never do anything that would jeopardize his license.
Like I said, my name is Detective Joe Ritchie. I'm with the Arizona Department of Public Safety, the Vehicular Crimes Unit. And just regarding this crash, can you just kind of tell me what happened?
I set the, like I normally do when I get on the highway, got up to speed, set the cruise control. I always keep my foot hovering over the brake. I looked over at my tablet, it made a noise, so I just looked at it real quick. And then I looked back at the road, brake lights, and I tried to slam on my brakes, and then just the weight of the truck just kept going forward.
Dan, let's stop there. How many crashes are caused because of phones and tablets?
Oh, it's an epidemic going on in America right now. Texting and driving, like TikToks here, Instagram, Twitter, reading news stories. People, especially now with the Teslas and the driverless features, they think, oh, I'm now free to, watch Avengers while I'm driving on Georgia from Florida, and I'll just kind of keep it because it's driving itself, so what does it matter? It's really a problem now in America that we see more and more of these accidents that happen. At Morgan & Morgan, when we do every time we kind of suspect this or an accident like this raises, we request the cell phone data from the at-fault drivers, and lots of times it kind of shows up, watching movies, texting.
Because the timestamp.
It's all timestamped. It's all on there. So you get the whole download from the carrier. You call T-Mobile or AT&T. They send you over the data plan, and it shows. We've had wrongful death cases similar to this one involving a truck driver where he was watching a movie on his phone in the lap, just looking down, and then kind of almost the same situation. Traffic stopped. He kept going.
Unbelievable. So going back to this case, as he sits in the back of this squad car, Tyner agrees to let an investigator look at his phone to see if he was using it when the crash happened.
I don't know if this is pertinent. Mind if I take a look at your phone? I just want to rule that out, make sure you weren't on your phone. Is it open?
Yeah, it's open.
So text messages, is that text messages?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I look at them? So it looks like if I'm looking at this right, you got a text message. What's today's date?
Thursday, January 12th.
The 12th. So you got a text message yesterday, and then the first one you got this morning was at 6:12. Is that right? Were you on the internet or anything? At your phone? Where was your phone at when the crash happened?
In my pocket.
In your pocket? Okay. Do you mind if I take a look at the internet? Can you pull your internet up for me?
Stuff that. No, that's when I'm at home.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay.
I don't mess with that. I'm driving. I keep it in my pocket.
Yeah, no problem.
I got my head. I normally have my headset burnt to the truck. I have a headset, so if someone calls, I hit it and then talk.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right.
I don't
and no calls? Can I see your call log? So boss. 4:59. Chase my friend. That was yesterday, right?
Yep.
Chase my friend. Okay. All right. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. All right.
But the Maricopa County Attorney's Office says that digital forensic data showed that Tyner had accessed at least 4 separate TikTok videos while driving and within seconds of the collision with stopped traffic. So Tyner was later arrested at his home months after the crash. He was charged with 5 counts of manslaughter, 4 counts of endangerment, 1 count of tampering with evidence, and in June of 2024, Tyner, now 38 years old, entered a guilty plea to 5 counts of negligent homicide, and in August he was sentenced to 22.5 years in prison. According to a statement from the Arizona Department of Public Safety, this marks the first case in AZDPS history in which a driver has been convicted of causing a fatal collision while distracted by a social media application. I mean, this is one of those cases that is so tragic, could have easily been avoided. Is it going to be a wake-up call? I mean, in the cases you cover, does it wake people up?
I think it is actually. I think there is now, especially as the younger generations are kind of coming into it and the technology that's being put into place with the Apple phones. Pretty much now they have the drive mode where if it kind of detects you going, it shuts off, and we have seen somewhat of a taper down. But again, people are more addicted sometimes to their cell phone than they are, to illicit drugs out there. They just need that constant interaction, the constant what's next, what's refresh feed, where it's always going to be a problem, unfortunately. Just like drinking and driving is always going to be a problem. This is always going to be a problem, but I definitely think it's at least starting to fix. But cases like this is what really needs to happen. It needs to be public announcements. Hey, this guy was texting and driving, this happened, and now he's in jail for 22 years, you said. And that messaging needs to get out. It needs to get to kids. It needs to get to truck drivers that this is what's going to happen if you're distracted and driving and cause something like this.
I encourage everybody who drives next time, like on a highway or interstate, just look over to your left or right and see how many people are on their phone driving or like this. I see it all the time.
I look at it, I point to my girlfriend like, this is the reason we're in business. Look at this idiot right now. He's looking and swerving into the lane and looking down.
Selfish.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next up is one of the most shocking cases of murder I think that we've seen. So a young Ohio woman who was just 17 at the time was accused of intentionally slamming her speeding car into the side of a building. Yeah, her boyfriend and another friend were killed. So this happened in Strongsville, Ohio in July of 2022, around 5:30 in the morning. A security camera near the crash site showed Mackenzie Shirilla's Toyota Camry accelerating to almost 100 miles an hour before it went flying through a business sign and into the brick wall. It wasn't until 45 minutes later that a passerby spotted the crash and called 911. And information from the black box of the car showed that Shirilla had her right foot on the accelerator, flooring it. The brake was never applied. Now, Shirilla's boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo, died on impact. Their friend Davion Flanagan, who was in the back seat, was alive when first responders found him, but he died before a rescue helicopter could get there. Shirilla was trapped in the car, but here's the thing. She survived, and investigators say they found mushrooms and a digital scale on Shirilla once she was out of the wreckage. Prosecutors said that Shirilla and Russo had this toxic, abusive relationship, and she wanted to not only kill him, but also herself. A witness testified that in a previous incident, He had overheard Sherilla and Russo fighting while Russo was on the phone with his mom, and he heard Sherilla say, "I'm going to wreck this car right now." So according to court records, county prosecutors charged Sherilla with 4 counts of murder, 4 felony counts of felonious assault, aggravated vehicular homicide, drug possession, and possessing criminal tools. She had a bench trial in 2023, which means instead of facing a jury of her peers, she opted for the judge to decide this case, or the judge to decide her guilt or innocence. And Sherilla's defense team tried to claim that Sherilla had a medical condition that caused the crash. The judge was not buying it, and she found Sherilla guilty of all 12 counts. And during her sentencing hearing, several family members got up to speak, including the younger sister of Davian Flanagan. And she, Davian, another sibling, they had been adopted by the Flanagans when their birth parents couldn't care for them anymore. Take a listen.
Davian was not just a big brother to me, but a role model in many ways. He was the person I trusted the most because he made me feel safe. He taught me the importance of cherishing each moment and enjoying life. The memories we have are strong, but losing him has shown me the value of life. He has how God works in ways you can't understand, but is worth it in the end. I don't want this pain for anyone else. I don't want people to have to go through this. As an 18-year-old, I hate the fact that he has gone because someone decided to take his life.
Before we go any further, I mean, this is deliberate. And the idea that the car, you could tell the accelerator was being pushed down. That's talk about technology improving what someone does behind the wheel.
Exactly. Yeah, we do, in a lot of our big cases now, assuming that the car's technology advanced in, 1972 Pontiac or something, this is all easily done now. You get the download of the car, you can see, it registers impacts. I think it has to be over like 5 miles an impact, but every time you hit or bump, you can kind of see exactly how fast was the car going, what was the speeds, what was that. We can then give that to a biomechanical engineer who can show all the forces and show how these injuries can occur, how discs can herniate, how bones can break due to the force in the black box, where if someone says in a deposition, I promise you I was going 25 miles an hour, I don't know how this damage to this car got like that. And you say, well, Ms. Smith, we have the information from your car, and at the time of the accident, you're going 55 miles an hour. And she says, that's not true, and it just is what it is. You can't really, deny the fact that it's technology.
How many times have you seen cases where someone is deliberately using a car as a weapon?
As a weapon at Morgan & Morgan, and really all civil law firms, if it's an intentional act, we're kind of out of it. It's now that then goes to the criminal attorney, that goes to the prosecutors. Sure. So, we do we see them? We do see them. We get calls from family members. I had a call or a case that came in the other day up in Detroit where a girlfriend used her car as a weapon against a boyfriend and pinned him against the garage and broke his femur. But again, it's an intentional act. She caught him cheating. She waited until he was coming in the car. As soon as she got in front of the car, boom, floored it and pinned him. So, does it happen? It does unfortunately happen a lot. But again, it's not a civil case, but criminally, yeah, and it's most likely a deadly weapon, and that's how they categorize it in that case.
So going back to this one, Christine Russo, this is Dominic's mom, she also spoke during this hearing, and at times tearing into Sherilla's family members for their apparent lack of concern for her family's pain.
Mackenzie Sherilla had a choice. Dom and Davian did not. We are all left here to mourn. But what Tom, Enoch, and Davian lost can never be remedied in any way or by any particular sentence. July 31st, 2022, I called Mackenzie's mother, hysterical with the loss of my son and Davian. I knew Mackenzie was in the hospital, and the first statement said to me was, "Oh, please don't listen to what everyone's saying on Facebook." Yeah, my son is dead, his friend is dead, and I'm checking on yours. Yet social media is what's important. Social media has made a game out of the life of Mackenzie and is making a game out of this heart-wrenching tragedy. No one can imagine the pain of losing a child unless they have lost one themselves. The pain is forevermore. Time does not heal this wound. Mackenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davion were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams. Mackenzie showed no mercy on Dominic, nor did she on Davion. Only God at this time can have mercy on her soul. Thank you.
And Sharilla herself was given the opportunity to speak and read from a sheet of paper.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away, and I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you.
Now here's the thing, video evidence was presented during the hearing, showing Sharilla going to concerts and college parties after the crash, appearing to have no remorse for her actions. And her mom said that she was the one who actually told Sharilla to do those things, to try to get back to a sense of normalcy. So it was up to the judge to hand down the sentence. The minimum sentence was 15 years to life, the max was 30 years to life, and the judge would be deciding if her sentences would be served consecutively, meaning back to back, or concurrently at the same time. Let's see what the decision was.
There can be no doubt in your mind what happened this night. There can be no doubt of the absolute terror of the two people in that car. The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose a day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car. She chose an obscure, previously scouted route through an industrial parkway. She chose the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. And she planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022. The review of the evidence supports the factual findings, the forensic testimony, the testimony of the first responders, the testimony of the emergency room doctors who treated the defendant, the testimony of the coroner's medical examiner, the testimony of those who knew the victims and the defendant, and the testimony of the BMV official who provided evidence that not only did the defendant deny any medical condition when applying for her license, which her mother co-signed and attested to, but also that just after the accident, Mackenzie renewed her driver's license and again denied any medical condition. In fact, the defendant was so concerned about driving that, as the state mentioned, during the investigation, she asked if they could just suspend her license for 10 years. It is hard to fathom how a person could be concerned about their driving privileges, having just been responsible for the deaths of two people. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. The record is clear on the facts and the evidence. Her mother's uncorroborated statements without any medical testimony or records is not persuasive. It is also important to remember that even if Mackenzie intended to also die in this crash, that is irrelevant. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. And even in a murder-suicide attempt, when the perpetrator executing the plan survives, the other death or deaths are still murder. There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence, but I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out in 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served.
And she's now imprisoned at the Ohio Reformatory for Women in Marysville, Ohio. Before we go further in this, that lack of remorse, is that something that you see in your cases as well?
Actually, it is. You know, it's you would think the opposite, but a lot of the ones, I mean, when I talked about earlier, that garbage truck case, the driver never apologized. He blamed the other guy for walking in. He said, you know, you ruined my life. I can't believe you did this. Why my client was passing away on the pavement in front of me. He was yelling at my client. during the deposition. He never admitted to do anything wrong. A lot of times they kind of hold on to what they did is just and right, and that they're the ones. They kind of shifted that they're the victims in the whole thing when, you know, their actions ended up killing somebody. So you would think, I mean, obviously it's not always like that. Sometimes you have people that are, you know, they can't even live with themselves sometimes with what they've done. But normally it's not the reaction you would think of someone being extremely remorseful for causing, you know, in these situations, just terrible stuff.
Now, her attorneys, they've appealed the verdict. They cited several errors during the course of the trial. They said that Sharilla's case should have stayed in juvenile court instead of being transferred. They also said the state did improve their case beyond a reasonable doubt. They claimed the state was allowed to introduce character evidence that violated Sharilla's rights to a fair trial. And in its response, the appeals court upheld the judge's ruling and said, in part, evidence of the defendant's past threats and verbal and physical violence toward her boyfriend was appropriately introduced not as character evidence, but to establish motive, intent, and the absence of mistake or accident. And by the way, just to put a bow on this, Sharilla's first shot at parole will be in 2037. Okay, so now let's go to Miami. So police say this aspiring model, high on pink cocaine, ran a red light in her Mercedes-Benz, causing a chain reaction, a crash that killed 2 men on their way to work. It happened in August, just before sunrise. As the sun came up, first responders worked to extricate people trapped inside of a sedan, while other officers were able to locate the woman who reportedly caused the crash, Macy Marie Lathers. You might know about this case. So body cam video shows the wreckage of 3 cars, and investigators say Lathers was driving around 80 miles an hour in a white Mercedes with her foot on the gas pedal 100% when she ran a red light and crashed into a black Range Rover. That's the allegation. And that collision apparently caused the SUV to smash into a Suzuki. 2 people were apparently killed in this crash, identified by family as Abraham Ismael Molina Cruz and his friend Jesus Rubio. The driver of the Range Rover survived. Now, body cam footage from Miami police shows this officer finding one of his colleagues guarding a woman who's laying on the ground with her hands cuffed behind her back. That is 24-year-old Macy Lathers. She appears to moan and seems to roll around in pain and is definitely unsure of what exactly is going on. So witnesses would later tell police that Lathers walked away from her crash car and tried to leave the scene entirely, but they stopped her. In fact, surveillance video from near the scene shows Lathers walking down the sidewalk before trying to blend in with a crowd of people running along the street. In the body cam, the officers are trying to figure out if Lathers has any injuries, and that's when she reveals she took a drug known as 2C, or pink cocaine. According to an NYU Medical School report published in 2023, that is usually a combination of a lot of different drugs: ketamine, ecstasy, cocaine, meth, opioids, other psychoactives, and researchers say its pink color is really just for looks.
What?
Ma'am.
Recovery position.
She's what? Hey,
Relax.
chill out.
Relax.
Chill out.
Relax.
Chill out.
Relax. What do you want to have?
¿Ustedes vieron lo que pasó?
45 cents reference. I need rescue here to check on one of the passengers in the vehicle. Miami and 8 on the southeast corner. Black shirt, blue jeans.
Just stay like that.
Relax, stay on your left because you're going up.
Stay like that. Look that way.
Ma'am, can you stay over there looking that way?
25 Put that leg straight.
Yeah. No, that's good. She'll be sideways, brother. Oye, ma'am.
Relax, relax.
She's good, right? Vamos a levantarla y llevarla ahí. What the rescue say? I think you were involved in the crash.
She probably won't be able to walk.
Does anything hurt you? Who had her detained?
We have real time monitoring. Can you real time? Real time monitoring. Have a nice day.
Did you get other people from the car?
Yeah, more. Okay. The other car, I think one is...
My mole.
What? Ma'am, what car are you driving?
Is it? My name
That's
is
a car?
Mercedes.
Calm down.
I'm from the future.
Awesome, amazing.
Oh, crystal ball. We can live off.
Are you on drugs? What do you want?
Oh, fly.
4514.
They gave her a shot.
I mean, the female that we have detained, we can advise fire rescue. She just told us now she's on Tuesday. So, joke. She's gonna be one of the vehicles that got into a collision. She's claiming she's on Tuesday.
Is this unrelated?
Yeah, no, it's related. They had her detained. She's with the white Mercedes. They got into an accident.
You had a neck pain? I had no neck pain.
She walked away from she's trying to leave the scene.
Lift your right arm up?
No, she's calm.
Oh, she's calm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll sit her up. We're going to assess her. Just try to make sure she's not like a trauma alert.
Perfect.
Okay, now you're...
Ma'am.
Relax. Remember I told you to relax? Get up. Get her up. Get her up. She's facing us. Sit down.
Apparently what he did. We're just going to do a quick assessment in the back. And go from there.
Is she the batter with you guys?
I think she's on Tuesday, so she said right now. She's like, oh, I'm from the future. Okay, hold on, man.
We'll get her there. She's on Tuesday.
Yeah. Let me just, porque supposedamente they crashed and she tried to leave the scene. So.
Alright, then I'm just going to need an officer to come with us.
Yeah, gotcha. No problem.
Aliens. They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
I'll get her legs.
Go. Aliens are coming.
Okay, so let's break this down. She's saying some crazy stuff on there. Now, I have seen cases before where people might argue, I took a drug and it had an effect on me I didn't anticipate. I don't know if you've ever seen that as a successful defense in your cases, because I know that's a stretch, but I have seen that mounted sometimes. I don't know if that's going to be where this goes, but talking about these things and acting in a way that is so erratic, what do you make of it?
Yeah, a lot of times, people will throw that out. I had, the one case we just saw, the girl had shrooms on her. In this case, she has the pink cocaine or 2C on her, where people say, I took this and then I don't remember anything, and then I woke up in here and this is what happened. That really doesn't hold much water in arguments, especially if you ingested it. It's kind of the same with the DUI. Well, yeah, I had a few drinks, and then I blacked out, and then I don't remember anything, and I woke up in my car. Well, no, you had the drinks, you then got the car, you kind of put that whole thing into motion. So if you're eating mushrooms, if you're doing snorting pink cocaine at 7 in the morning, and 20 minutes later this happens, you can't say, well, I didn't realize this was, I did these drugs and then this happened. It's kind of, it's too far out ahead. Now, if she had a drink and someone put GHB in her drink and she didn't know, or put some type of psychedelic in her drink and she drank and then had a psychotic break and didn't intentionally ingest the drugs, then you'd have a really good argument. I'm someone that doesn't do drugs. I went to a party. Next thing I know, I blacked out. I had GHB in my system, and I caused, a vehicular manslaughter case. That might hold up a little bit better. But if I was out partying and the next thing I know this happened because I took this drug that I didn't think, I do cocaine all the time, but I didn't think this cocaine was going to affect me like this stuff did, and then now this happened. Yeah, I think it's not going to, especially in Miami, I don't think it's going to hold up.
Well, and once she was in the ambulance, Lathers was still mostly incoherent.
What's going on?
Yeah, baby, it's fine.
What's going on?
Macy, do you know where you are?
No. Yeah. I'm in Earth.
Where?
Earth.
You're where?
Earth.
The roof?
Earth.
Earth. Yeah, we are all on Earth. Do you know where you are? What city? Where?
Oh, Miami.
Miami. Do you know what happened? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, I died. Go to the car.
Okay,
Everything's in the car. It's the phone.
Were you taking any drugs?
Yeah. Would you go? Yes. Pink Tuesday. Tuesday from Florida. Go now. Go now. Go now. Go. Pink. I think I'm gonna sit down, but I'm gonna get dizzy.
So the Miami-Dade County inmate list shows Lathers is still behind bars, and after prosecutors got the results of her toxicology test, they added DUI manslaughter charges. They say that Lathers tested positive for MDMA, ecstasy, ketamine. She also faces charges for reckless driving, driving without a license, trying to leave the scene. You know, if she gets sued for it, I'm not sure what the status of, if there was a lawsuit or the planned lawsuit, but this would be an open and shut case, right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on whatever her insurance policy is, I'm sure that's been pitched, you know, the same day this thing happened, most likely, that the company was dispersing it to the victims' families. I mean, this is a really good, I'm not too familiar with Tusi, but just seeing what she looks like in that video and the way she's acting, it's something I don't want to be familiar with. I think it's a good drug prevention type program to show kids, hey, this is what this stuff's going to do. You stay as far away from it as possible.
All right, we're going to finish this up one more. We're end back in Ohio, where a man will spend the rest of his life behind bars for kidnapping his baby daughter, killing her, and crashing into a home after a police chase. Yeah, so at first investigators thought that little 7-month-old Emery died in the crash, but an autopsy revealed that her father, Jonathan Baker, had shot her twice in the head. Now, police in North Baltimore say that Baker was dating Emery's mother, but abducted the baby after telling his girlfriend he was feeling homicidal or suicidal. Multiple officers were out on the roads that day in June of 2023 looking for Baker when an off-duty officer spotted him. This is according to law enforcement. And then the chase was on. Baker ended up veering off the road and crashing into a house.
Just went off the road into the side of a house. Beside 607 South Sandusky. Into a house, I believe. I'll be all done.
And according to reports from the scene, Emery was apparently still alive when the car crashed, but died not long after.
I got you.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Put your hands on the window!
I gotta get in this side.
Get a hand or something. Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
I'm gonna try this.
Station.
Send the engine fuel go to traffic.
The baby looks okay.
He's
out. Get that. See me get that door. He's out. Can we get the drivers at all?
I can't get into it. It's locked.
It's behind. Just somebody's on the driver, right?
Yeah,
he's out cold. Okay.
I got him covered.
Take that, Rachel. Smack it.
Well, pop the back window so we can get the baby back there.
Get some glass on the baby, but what's wrong? Baby's got bleed all over.
He's still out, Jason.
Oh God, that
Yeah, he's out.
Can you get the seatbelt there?
Yep, cut that
Can we get
seatbelt.
the door? Can you at least get the door
No,
handle?
it won't. It will not open. It's jammed.
No, I mean, like, if we at least get the door handle open, can we pull this? Get it unlocked?
Somebody just keep on covering.
I got him.
You got the seatbelt?
All right, now we got it.
Don't move.
Don't move. Do not move.
Let's get the baby out.
Fire him.
I got the kid.
Somebody grab that fire.
Don't move so I get the baby out.
Really, really distressing video right there. And look, Baker, he was found guilty in October of 2024 of aggravated murder and kidnapping with a gun specification. And during his sentencing, Baker spoke and said he regretted his actions, but said he'd been reading the Bible and acknowledged he didn't have God in his heart that day. His attorney said he believed Baker was suffering from mental illness when he kidnapped and killed his daughter. His lawyer said that Baker had no prior criminal record besides some traffic offenses, and the judge told Baker that he'd shown no genuine remorse for his crime, so he was sentenced to life without parole, plus up to another 16 and a half years for kidnapping and 3 years for the firearm specification. Dan, and what a terrible story to end on, but my gosh, I don't think it gets much worse than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much worst case scenario for all parties involved. I mean, it's, I guess it's good that he found God after the fact, but it should have been better if he found him before all that went down.
Yeah, and this idea that mental illness, how does that ever work with these kinds of these crashes or accidents?
I mean, again, there are legitimate mental illness, psychotic break types things that do happen, and our medical events as well. We have I had a wrongful death case one time. It was an Uber driver, and he had a heart attack while he was driving, and then he ended up colliding into another truck, and his passenger ended up passing away too, where things happen, it's unpreventable, and you're not caused, he doesn't get cause for the murder of that because it is a true medical incident, a true psychotic break. A lot of times people think that's my get out of jail free card. I'm going to say I went crazy. I'm going to say I took drugs that made me crazy, and then all this will hopefully just go away. And it's kind of just, a football analogy. It's that Hail Mary, last chance. You got really no other defense, no reasonable person who is going to find in your favor. So I'm insane. I went crazy, and just hope it sticks. But yeah, most of the time, they don't follow through. They don't actually get even past. Judges don't even allow it in. Once they say no, you got to stand trial. You're standing trial.
So look, this was a selection of some deadly crashes. Unfortunately, there are a lot more, and I'm afraid to say it, but there will probably be a lot more in the future ahead. But Dan Morgan is representing those people who need a voice when these things happen. And thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate you taking the time, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.